Hello, welcome to our session, Building the Future Long-Term Care Workforce, Partnerships to Engage Students in Long-Term Care. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Holly Hebner, and I'm joined by my colleague, Shilpi Majumder. We work on the Ontario Centres for Learning, Research and Innovation in Long-Term Care program, hosted at the Schlegel UW Research Institute for Aging. Today, we'll be sharing how you can engage high school students in your long-term care homes, how your long-term care community will benefit from the support students can provide, and how you can contribute towards building the future workforce by increasing career awareness and providing students with valuable experience in the long-term care sector. So why are we interested in engaging secondary school students in these opportunities? We know that staffing shortages have existed across the long-term care sector for a long time and have been amplified by the COVID-19 pandemic. More individuals are leaving the sector, creating huge staffing gaps, making it challenging to provide quality care. Students can help alleviate the strain on team members by supporting departments and providing more one-on-one time with residents. Lack of awareness about career paths available in long-term care is impacting the recruitment of our future workforce. Negative and inaccurate media coverage is also a factor in students' desire to work in the sector. We want to change that and show students that there are rewarding careers in long-term care. Students are also seeking meaningful experiential learning placements that may lead to fulfilling careers. Through experiential learning in long-term care, students develop skills to communicate with empathy and compassion, and this can improve their self-esteem and confidence. As a result, residents feel more engaged, less isolated, and interacting with youth can improve their self-worth. All of these play a part in building the future long-term care workforce. Some of you may be wondering how to go about connecting with secondary schools in the community around your long-term care home. Our experiential learning guidebook was created to help long-term care homes and secondary schools develop partnerships that are mutually beneficial. Secondary schools are always looking for organizations to partner with so that their students can have meaningful engagement in the community related to their interests, courses, and curriculum. Students can be a valuable part of the long-term care community and can help address staffing shortages, provide more intergenerational engagement with residents, and a positive placement could lead to students considering a career in long-term care. We know this because we worked with students to develop this guidebook. Take a few minutes after our presentation to view our experiential learning in long-term care experiences and impact video to hear directly from students and their teachers. The guidebook includes advice and steps for developing a partnership and successful placement with a high school in your area. Let's walk through the steps and things to consider when recruiting students. The guide is focused on secondary school students, but it can be applied more broadly to post-secondary students as well. The first step towards engaging with secondary schools and inviting co-op students or student volunteers to your long-term care home is defining a purpose. The guidebook includes questions to help you to develop a clearly defined purpose and lead you in developing your goals for a cohesive team approach for this initiative. Things to think about might include why your home wants to implement an experiential learning placement for students. How will your long-term care community benefit from the presence of students? And how will this placement contribute to your organization's vision, mission, and values? Also think about who your placement supervisor will be. Perhaps it's your home's volunteer coordinator or life enrichment manager. Identifying a placement supervisor and other team members who will be part of the placement experience can help contribute to smooth communication and evaluation process. Students who are part of a co-op program usually develop personal goals with their teacher that defines what they want to achieve during their placement. This helps the teacher evaluate the student's performance at the end of the term. It's recommended that you as a long-term care home also develop goals to help evaluate the success of integrating a placement. Our guidebook includes a chart to help your team outline your goals and ensure they are outcome-focused and not task-focused. The SMART framework is a great tool to ensure that your goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Now that you've determined your purpose and your goals for implementing an experiential learning placement, you can start thinking about the roles these students can have in your home and what department they can support. Role descriptions help teachers and placement supervisors identify students that would be a good fit. These descriptions are also helpful for students so they know what to expect before participating. Our guidebook includes a role description template to help you build your own, and we also have sample role descriptions ready to use and adapt on our website. You might have identified a need in the dining room, so a supportive mealtime partner may be a position to offer to students. They could help prepare food, plate food, serve food, or help residents with eating. Another example could be a supportive recreation partner. The students would work with recreation professionals to implement meaningful activities and programs based on the physical, cognitive, social, emotional, and spiritual strengths of residents. Before a student begins their placement in your long-term care home, provide the necessary training to the student to ensure the health, safety, and well-being of everyone involved. Students are considered to be workers by the Ontario Ministry of Labour, and therefore, all rights and obligations pertaining to workers, as stated by the Ministry of Labour, apply to a student completing a placement in your home. Teachers will conduct a health and safety assessment of the long-term care home prior to placement so they can help prepare their student beforehand. In addition to training provided by their teacher, this is an opportunity for the placement supervisor at your long-term care home to provide any training materials the student may need before they start. For example, you may want them to complete a health and safety training like WHMIS, or perhaps review the Ontario Long-Term Care Home Act or Residents' Bill of Rights. It is essential to realize that regardless of previous experience, a placement in long-term care has the potential to be emotionally challenging for students. For example, they may witness emergency situations or the declining health of a resident they've become close with, or possibly have to cope with feelings of death and grieving. It's important to adequately prepare students for placements in long-term care and also support their mental health and emotional safety. Students should know who they can talk to at the long-term care home if or when they need emotional support. The Ontario CLRI has created and compiled a number of resources on our website to ensure that students know what to expect and be mentally prepared. We have resources on mental health supports, career web pages with videos and information on different roles in long-term care, information on what person-centered care looks like, videos on supporting mobility of residents and supporting residents living with dementia, and e-courses on person-centered language, infection prevention and control, and mealtime assistance. We recommend that all students pursuing placements in long-term care review all of the training materials on the Ontario CLRI website. I'm going to turn it over to Shilpi, who will walk you through the rest of the steps in our guidebook and tell you about other ways the CLRI is engaging students in the sector.
Formal orientation and health and safety training are mandatory for all secondary school co-op placements. So it's important to plan a thorough and detailed student orientation on the very first day. Students need to be prepared with clear expectations and detailed instructions. Each role may require different types of orientation and training. An orientation package is available on the CLRI webpage, and a checklist is provided in the guidebook to support you in planning your student orientation. We also provide a number of training and orientation videos for students and anyone new to long-term care. Consider incorporating these into your orientation. The next step is how to evaluate your success and challenges. As part of the co-op placement, students will be evaluated by both their teacher and the placement supervisor at the long-term care home. You may use interviews, activity logs, observations, surveys, or other measures to evaluate the placement. You may include team members, residents, family members, and of course the students themselves in your evaluation. By choosing evaluation tools ahead of time, you'll ensure that you can collect the data you need throughout the placement. This will provide a full picture of whether the placement met your goals and expectations. Now that you've planned a student placement, how can you connect with the school? First, you need to identify the secondary schools that are close to your long-term care home. On our website, we have a link to all the school boards in Ontario. Each board website will have a listing of the schools in that board. Once you've found some schools close to your long-term care home, you will need to contact the specialist high skills major leads, the co-op leads, career teachers, or guidance counselors in the schools to initiate a collaboration. In your communication, you should include a description of your organization, including your mission, vision, values, an overview of what long-term care is, the purpose and goals of this experiential learning opportunity for your organization, what roles you're currently offering for students, any requirements students need to have, such as vaccinations, and what are your expectations of students. Finally, inquire about what is expected of you as a placement supervisor, and do share a copy of the guidebook to help align yourself with the school in building your partnerships. Once you've connected with the school and discussed your goals with them, teachers will identify some students that may have an interest and may be suited to the roles that you will provide. As an example, let's suppose a teacher in the school you've connected with has identified Noah, who is interested in a placement in your long-term care home. You'll be interviewing Noah, who has an interest in sports, and he's been identified by the co-op teacher as a good fit for a supportive fitness partner role. When interviewing students for a placement, you want to ensure that the student has the appropriate skills, attitudes, qualities to take on the role that you've developed and to work with residents in your long-term care home. You may seek students who are friendly and approachable, have strong interpersonal skills, are enthusiastic, reliable, compassionate, empathetic, and are comfortable working in a team as well as independently. And you certainly want students who are passionate about working with older adults. A student interview may include the following: an overview of the organization and role, including a description of the environment. Major responsibilities associated with this role include what a typical day might look like. You may want to ask whether the student has any experience working with older adults or in other vulnerable sectors. Questions regarding skills and experience the student may have that will apply to this role. Questions to assess personal qualities identified as important to be successful in this role. And questions about interacting with diverse residents and team members will be useful. You may also include a couple of case scenarios to determine how the student might handle a challenging situation. And you want to ask about the student's learning goals and interests. What do they hope to gain from the opportunity? And finally, think about how your organization can help the student grow. Communication is essential to having a successful experiential learning experience. Ensure you provide open communication channels with the student as well as the teachers. You may want to set up regular meetings with the student to monitor progress and provide opportunities for students to ask questions and learn more about the sector. You should also regularly touch base with the teacher to ensure expectations are being met. Plan regular meetings in advance and ensure students feel comfortable communicating with the placement supervisor or any other team members as needed, and that those individuals are available to support the student. And do communicate with team members, residents, and family members to let them know about the student placement and the role and responsibilities they will take on, so that everyone is aware and can support the student as needed. Finally, develop a timeline and set milestones for when certain activities during the student placement will take place and be achieved. Include meetings, deadlines, goals in your timeline. This will help you stay organized and keep track of placement activities. The guidebook provides a timeline template for you to use, as well as a readiness checklist. So today we're focused on primarily secondary school placements. However, you could use similar strategies to reach out to post-secondary programs in nursing, PSW, food service, recreation, social work, and other programs to provide more specific experiential experiences and train the future workforce. Our orientation and training resources are relevant for all levels of students and newcomers to long-term care. Now I'd like to tell you a little bit about how else the Ontario CLRI is increasing awareness about careers in long-term care. We have been promoting careers in long-term care by presenting to secondary school students enrolled in various co-op programs. We have developed career profiles featuring a number of roles in long-term care, including videos which we show to students and promote broadly. And we've had many views on these pages. We're also working with a number of career platforms such as Blueprint and Chatter High. These platforms feature links to the CLRI website and resources, and students are exposed to them through their mandatory career courses. This year, we coordinated some virtual co-op placements for students in long-term care homes. While each home was only able to accommodate 1 to 4 students, these students had a positive experience. Some of the activities offered in these virtual placements included a virtual orientation, Ontario CLRI training, virtual tours of the long-term care home, interactions with long-term care home team members, individual engagement with residents, and virtual participation in recreational activities. In addition, we've been reaching out to colleges and universities, specifically their healthcare, social work, rehabilitation, and other relevant programs to encourage them to embed our person-centered language and other e-courses into their curricula. And in this way, the post-secondary students get more exposure to long-term care and learn about working in the sector. Finally, we've created assignments for dietetic and nutrition students to create recipes appropriate for long-term care. By engaging these students, we've been able to improve the nutritional content of long-term care menus and increase awareness of food service roles in long-term care. If you'd like to learn more about how you can provide valuable experiences for students, see our website or contact us by email. We're always looking for team members from long-term care who would be willing to speak to students about their experiences working in long-term care. So if you or a fellow team member are interested in joining us in these presentations, please do contact us via email. Thank you very much for your time and attention today.